Gina, I got a joke for you.
You do?
What did one toilet say to the other?
What did one toilet say to the other?
You look a bit flushed.
Do you remember the interrupting toilet jokes? Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Interrupting toilet.
Flush!
Our kids, one of them went through a phase where it was interrupting everything.
Yes.
Jokes.
And they didn't make a lot of sense, but they still were funny.
Very funny. It's Tuesday, and it's time for some simple ideas and tips to help parents live a more conscious parenting experience. Today we have a quote. If I live to be 100, it won't be because I tidied up the house each day before I left. It will be because of the glorious mess I made while I was living life. That's from Hands-Free Life by Rachel Macy Stafford. It could very well be from me.
yeah. Messy life.
Another thought on this is let them make a mess. Creativity begins in the mess of things. I had advice from a dear friend years ago that said, with new parents especially, when you invite someone over the house, make the effort to not fully clean up, especially, if they have a new baby, so that they can see what real parenting looks like. That's a great gift to give someone, to let them see a little bit of your mess, to know that you don't look like you just popped out of a magazine all the time, because when we go places and that's what we see, we perceive that that's the image, and that's what we have to keep up with.
Our magazine would probably be Mad Magazine.
You're funny.
Well, it's also, what isn't that they're saying, messy mind is a creative mind, something like that.
That sounds fitting.
Yeah.
And letting kids make a mess, knowing, this is a great story. When I was an occupational therapy student, I had to do some 12-week-long internships, and one of them was at a small rural hospital in Pottsville, Pennsylvania. And my internship was on the psychiatric ward of this hospital. And my supervisor, the occupational therapist, invited me to come to dinner at her house one day. And she had a toddler. The child was maybe between 1 and 2. And I can vividly remember having dinner with them, and I believe it was spaghetti. And she gave spaghetti to her child, and they played with it, and she encouraged that, and encouraged them to just enjoy that sensory experience of touching and tasting and feeling. And then I think she gave the kid a bath, and it was a very similar kind of experience. And that sticks out in my brain, and I think I took a lot from that idea that kids are new in this world and they're experiencing things through their senses, and how important it is to allow that.
Well, and being able to accept it, because life is messy, and to go around thinking that everything's has to be perfect is fighting an uphill battle. I love it when we go into somebody's house and it's neat as can be, and they're going, "Oh, I'm sorry, the house is such a mess." And like, you're serious? You should see the dust bunnies that roll under our beds, or anyway. So
yeah, it doesn't feel very genuine when I hear people say that, and yet their expectation of what their house needs to look like is, at a particular level.
Well, it also makes a home when it's a little messy, or it makes it feel like a home that's been lived in, that people,
I
not
said
a museum.
I said this to my mother once, as probably a young teen, that in comparison to one of my friends' houses, that our house felt more lived in. And I think she was insulted. As a working mom of teenagers, busy trying to keep things tidy and straight. And to me, it was more comforting. Like, if you go somewhere and everything's in its place, you don't feel comfortable sitting or eating a snack there. You're worried about making a mess or spilling. And my mom kept a clean house, yet, there were books out. There were.
Well, I remember as a kid there was a family that had white carpeting and a family, but they wouldn't let the kids in the room with the white carpeting.
That was my house. Did you know that?
Maybe
When
that's...
we lived in Canton, we had a living room with white carpet, and we only went in the living room for special occasions.
Yeah.
In fact, our dog.
It's not a living room, though.
Our dog even knew he wasn't allowed in there, and he'd rest his head on the white carpet. And he knew he was not to go in there.
So your idea today is to live a little messy and enjoy it.
And think about, 100 years from now, or even 50 years from now.
Will it matter?
What will this matter? What will matter from this experience, and our kids make a mess out of something 10, 20 years down the road? What's going to matter from this experience?
Well, we're Don and Gina with Focused Healthy Family. You can find us at www.focusedhealthyfamily.com.
Thank you for joining us, and we'd always love to hear from you. That's our podcast for today. We hope you have enjoyed it. We would love to hear from you. Make sure to leave us a comment. If you like what you heard today, you can learn more about our parent coaching program or join us for our next workshop. Find out at www.focusedhealthyfamily.com and follow us on Facebook at Focused Healthy Family. Remember, how you speak to your children shapes their future.